there. So I went ahead and I put all of the videos that deal with Meghan's TV show With Love. I put them all together into one mega compilation. These aren't new videos. These are all repeats, but this is just them all put together into one longer video so that, you know, if you're doing housework or chores or whatever, you can just go ahead and play this video and, you know, listen to all the, I think there's 4 videos that I did that dealt with different aspects of the With Love Meghan TV show. So I hope you enjoy. Hi there. So I did it. I took one for the team and I watched a couple episodes of With Love Meghan. And let me tell you, this is quite the little travesty. So what I'm going to do is, of course, Netflix is not going to let me play any of the audio. They're not going to let me, I don't even know if they're going to let me show the pictures. They first put out the trailer. You could not have even a moment of any sort of hint of audio, video, anything, or they wouldn't allow you to play your video. So hopefully they at least, I mean, when I was watching it, you can't even take screenshots of it. So they're very strict on this. And I think they are more so strict on this than they are. This is not a Netflix policy. This is a Meghan policy. This is the policy they use for any of Meghan's projects. So based on the few episodes that I have watched, here's what I gather is the general format. So she starts out telling her producer or camera crew, someone, all about whoever it is that's going to be this week's guest. And then she goes through and she will then do the rest of the episode talking to the guest that comes and does whatever. Now, her first guest is the makeup artist that loved her toast. I swear to God. So this guy, Daniel, and he is the first of her guests. And as she is talking to the producer and preparing for Daniel's imminent arrival, she is making bath salts for him. Yep, that's right, bath salts, which she will then put in his room when he comes to stay. But it's very odd because she's saying, look, here I am. This is my home. But it's not my home. Like, she's saying that outright. Because she's like, yeah, these are the things I made for Daniel for his welcome basket. Like, what is she, a B&B? This is what I made for Daniel for his welcome basket. And now I have to take this and bring this to my house. Because I don't actually live here. It's all very bizarre. But any of the outdoor scenes are supposedly done at her actual home. More on that in a minute. Of course, her whole little intro talks all about how well she knows Daniel and how they've known each other since the before time, which presumably, I mean, before she became a member of the royal family. And so the whole thing is very fake, very phony. I mean, Meghan, we know the truth that, yeah, you might speak to this man, but you really don't care one little bit about him. And so the whole thing, she's as always, the one thing that Meghan can never overcome is there's nothing genuine and sincere about her. And she can do 1,000 of these episodes, and that's not going to change. Once Daniel gets there, the two of them start to cook, and they're going to make a 1-skillet pasta meal. For the most part, what she does in this episode, at least, is cut vegetables. Daniel starts to cut vegetables and cuts his finger. You can't make this stuff up. And you look at what on earth is she wearing? I mean, look at that. The shorts are too short. The waist is up to her boobs. I mean, there's nothing about this that makes any sense to me. But her outfit. But what they're going to do is they're going to make a meal. They're going to make the pasta dish that she makes, where she puts a bunch of vegetables in, puts the dry pasta on top, and pours water over it. And then boils it for 6 minutes. But she's going to make this this pasta dish with him. He's going to do most of the actual cooking. She just does the chopping. Then they are going to make candles together. Yep, swear to God. They are going to make candles together because remember, they got the wax from the beeswax, from the honey. People, it's unreal. And my primary thought as I was watching them make the candles and everything was, does she know you can buy the kit for this on Amazon? And it'll tell you all about how to make candles. You don't need to watch Meghan to learn how to make candles if you need to make candles. And who actually needs to make candles? But the whole point is, of course, that this is more for Daniel, right? This is for her Airbnb gift bag or whatever the hell it is she's doing here, where he is going to get to make food, make a cake, make candles, so he does all the work, and then he brings those home with him when he leaves the, Montecito Airbnb of Meghan and Harry. I swear, this guy Daniel, at one point, he whines because he doesn't want to have to leave his cottage on Meghan's grounds. I swear to God. There's lemons everywhere. Lemons are everywhere. Lemons in the zest, lemons in the cake, lemons in the pasta, lemons in the beeswax. I mean, the woman put lemon everywhere. And she's not very bright, because Meghan is sitting there and she's like, well, of course, we're going to bake a cake now, but really we're just going to decorate it because, of course, I already made the cake. And then she proceeds to make the cake. I mean, like, Meghan, she need to explain to us that she wasn't going to sit there and wait the 45 minutes for the cake to bake and fill in that time talking to Daniel. Of course we knew that, Meghan. Like, why did she have to tell us that she was going to then substitute this unbaked cake for a baked cake? Either way, the point is they are going to essentially just decorate the cake. And what type of cake is it? It's a naked cake, just like the one that she had made for her wedding. Any opportunity she could, she made her connection to Harry, Lily, and Archie. It was unreal. But of course, none of them are ever in it. Cannot stress again, looking at this photo right now, it looks like she's wearing something that's knee length, but no, look more carefully. That is the apron. If you look at the back where the two handles are on the cabinets in the kitchen, well, if you look at that, you will see the shorts end at the bottom label. Okay, that's where the shorts end. Look at how short the shorts are that she is wearing. I mean, this woman cannot dress herself even to bake a cake with a friend. It's craziness to me that nobody said to her, Meghan, that's completely inappropriate to wear, let alone to film a TV show about it. I mean, it's got to be that the people at Netflix just let her do what she wants. Just let her do it, and then we can take it from there. Because she looks foolish. At one point, someone said on X when I was posting pictures the first time I watched it, someone said it looks like she's wearing a nightshirt. I said, yes, it does. It literally does. Because she's wearing this big, bulky, oversized top shirt, and then because she's got the apron on, and then you have her super short shorts that you can't even tell that it's shorts. It looks like just the long shirt. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just a long dress shirt that she's got belted. Who the hell knows? But you can see there in that photo, you can see that bottom handle is where the shorts end. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to upload. I'm going to upload this video, and then I am going to go through, because this is just the initial impressions. I wanted you to see this because I don't want anybody watching this. Like, trust me, more than enough people are going to watch more than enough of this stuff. You don't need to watch it. We'll tell you as much as we can. But I'm going to upload this, and then I am going to make another video. And the other video, which will probably upload tomorrow, I'm going to take just like kind of an overview of all the episodes. Because this is just pretty much the first episode, and I've watched 2 or 3 already. But I'm going to upload this as a unique piece of just the first episode, and then I'm going to do a video on the other episodes, because They're not going to let me play anything. They're not going to let me play any of the audio. They're not going to let me play any of the video. All I can really do is take photos of the screen. Yeah, can't even take screenshots. So I'm thinking that that's the best way to do this so that you get a sense of what's going on and we can go from there. This is time in my life I will never get back. So we need to talk about this. If I were to give my impression of Meghan's overall videos, the Netflix series, which I've watched a few of them at this point, and I'm just going to go over a couple of the highlights. If I were to give an overall assessment, here's what I'm going to say. Had Meghan never gone over to the UK, married Harry, done everything that she's done in the past 7 years, had she stayed married to Trevor Engelson and done this TV series, I believe thoroughly that she would have been great. This would have been a great TV show. And she would have been very believable, authentic. You thought she was cooking. You thought she's entertaining. She plays it off pretty well. The problem is, we know none of this is sincere because of what she did in the last 7 years. So the problem is that this would have been, actually, I believe, a very successful TV show. If not, that it were way too little, way too late, way too insincere, and way too contrived. But we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't been watching this woman all these years. So it's very interesting to me. I think that she would have been great at this. But the one thing that I can't get over is who is dressing her for this show. Because the clothes are all wrong, the hair is all wrong, the jewelry is all wrong. She's got big chunky gold earrings when she supposedly just woke up and is making a frittata on the down low. That's what I mean by it being so contrived. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stick with the highlights. And there's quite a few. Now, the one thing that is very odd is she seems to jump back and forth between the filming location and her home. And it's odd because she says right off the bat in the first 5 minutes of the first episode, I'm not filming any of this in my home. And then right in the beginning of the second episode, she's supposedly in her garden where she says, these vines were actually here when I moved in, and this inspired my desire to make jam. Then she goes back to, but my grandmother used to make apple butter. So which is it, Meghan? Were you inspired by your grandmother or were you inspired by the vines? And she thinks that her kids are going to be happy, it's going to be a big memory for them, that they are used to walking into the house and smelling the sweetness of wafting through the air of fruit slow cooking. What? It's all so extreme and so ridiculous. The second episode up is the Mindy episode. And so they're going to plan a garden tea party for kids. And to start out, she's out picking the berries or whatever, yes. But so this is the jam episode, really, because what she's talking about is the preserves and what inspired it. And then when Mindy comes, the thing that Mindy says is the most glamorous day of her life was the day she received her American Riviera Orchard jam in the mail. That's this woman's most glamorous day of her life. I guess that was before she got the star on the Walk of Fame. It was, I know, I'm kidding. But they go through and it starts out where Meghan is talking all about what a wonderful hostess she is, but she forgot to prepare breakfast for Mindy. So she's going to now prepare it off the cuff and whip up a frittata on the sly. I mean, It's so pretentious and so contrived. I can't even express it well because it's so much worse than what it sounds like, even when I'm saying it. And like I said, had we not known Meghan, she probably could have done a great job at this. But nobody would have given her the chance if she was a nobody, because she doesn't have that much charm. Oh, and we learned that Doria got jam jar number 1. And Meghan didn't put any thought into who got which number, except Doria, I guess. And Mindy is talking all about how she was nervous about what number she got. Oh, does it mean she's not as important? Oh, it was a matter of hierarchy and status. Who got the jar number? It was so ridiculous. And they make authentic cucumber sandwiches for the kids in shapes of stars. They do crostini. And oh, it's so funny. At one point, Mindy is like, yes. So Meghan's like, yeah, I'm just going to, cut the crostini on an angle. That's what classy people do. And then you hear Mindy in the background, who's actually got a cooking vlog, sitting there saying, yes, what you're doing is you're cutting the crostini on a bias. The fact that you needed Mindy to say that, it was just so ridiculous. And even Mindy was like, and you're putting it in the toaster? Like, everybody knows that if you're going to do crostini, you're going to put a little olive oil and bake them in the oven. But no, Megxit puts it in the toaster. Because, of course, she's making the simple elevated. What else from this episode? So they do the little tea party, and pretty much that's about it. I mean, I wish there was more. She blows up balloons. Oh, she makes these gift bags for the kids. Nothing that she does or says is anything that you could not find a better version of it on Instagram. That's the thing. I mean, when Rachel Ray did this, whatever it was, 20 years ago, she was new and unique. Meghan is just a copycat, and a poor one at that. Because how many mothers are sitting there making garden tea parties for their kids with mini gift bags of mini gardening tools, seeds, and compostable pots to grow their seeds in? I mean, who's doing that? Come on, nobody has time for that shit. Maybe you would do this for a birthday party, but again, if you were, you would do this with much better ideas off of Instagram than anything Megxit can share. Maybe this is why Meghan is trying to appeal to the younger generation. Maybe that's why she made her demographic, skewed it so much lower. Not only are they the only people that will listen to her, but the other thing is for them, this may seem new and interesting, and they may say, oh, I can't wait to do this when I have kids. But this isn't anything that's new or unique to an older crowd, because we've seen, like I said, we've seen better versions of this on Sandra Lee, Giada, Ina Garten, who's the other one? Rachel Ray. All of them have done this and done it better than Meghan. But maybe for the younger generation that doesn't know those people, it would seem new and unique. I don't know. I really don't have words for this. One thing that bothered me, like this is her, Ladybug crostinis with the olives and the balsamic glaze. The thing that bothered me, and the what is it? Basil or arugula underneath. The thing that bothered me is, what kid is eating this? I mean, yeah, they'll love the fact that it's got the ladybug on it, but my kids would never have actually eaten this. They would have looked at it and then would have, moved on to the fruit. It wasn't genuine in what they were creating was not something that would appeal to kids. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in Hollywood, the kids of stars would devour these, olive and tomato crostinis, vine ripened baked tomatoes. Like, my kids wouldn't have, personally. So these, the things that they were creating, although they might look good on the surface, I didn't find them to be very practical. But that's kind of Meghan as a whole, right? Everything is about the gilded outside and not about the actual substance. Oh, and as she makes this Saturday morning mini plate of this fruit rainbow for just her kids, look at what she's supposedly wearing. She's wearing like a silk skirt, long silk skirt, and a wool sweater in California on a Saturday morning. I mean, again, the level of pretension is ridiculous. It's off the charts. And she's sitting here saying how important it is for her to be a present parent. And she has the luxury to be there for her kids. I mean, could anyone less connected to their kids try and pull that off? I mean, but I think for Hollywood, maybe for them, they think they are being a present parent. I mean, I actually did have the luxury of being a stay-at-home mom for most of my kids' childhood. And yeah, it's a very different experience and a very different life. But the way that she presents it as though she's, doing it all. She's there for her kids and she's still a working mom. I mean, it's so ridiculous and it's so unbelievable given the fact that we know she's never with her kids. The next episode, she has a celebrity guest. It's Roy. He's a Korean chef from LA. And I did a short of this one. Shorts are interesting because they let you do copyrighted material for shorts. So even though, say, there's a song, you can play the song because it's a short. I hope that YouTube lets me post it and that Netflix lets it go without me getting in trouble. It'll be interesting to see how deeply they are trying to protect this material and whether or not it's allowed on a short. It's the only way that I can share any sort of audio and video of it, and it's pretty freaking ridiculous. But go ahead and watch the short. But I'm not really going to talk about that episode. It was stupid. I'm sorry. It wasn't stupid. That's not the right way to say it. It wasn't interesting in any way, shape, or form for me. They make pickles. They make donuts. They make pickles. It's all really about two kids from LA in which Meghan just oversells the fact that she knows all about Korean American culture because she grew up in LA, and it's very geared obviously towards the celebrity chef, rightfully so, but it's Meghan trying to make herself seem as though she knows what a daikon is, and oh my gosh, she gives this whole thing about how whenever she goes to a hotel she's going to clean up after herself even though it's a hotel and there's maid service. Nothing about this episode was authentic. And so go watch the short. That pretty much says it all. And I'm going to move on to the next episode because the next episode is Delphina. The opening music for each episode seems to be kind of a thematic, hint of what the episode is about. Why on earth do they have cowboy music for Delphina? What? Because she's from Argentina and lives on a ranch? It's just, again, I sound like a broken record, I know. It's just very contrived. First impression of the video with Delphina in it is that by the beginning of it, when she's doing the bit where she talks to the cameraman and kind of has her intro little monologue thing, she's talking to the camera guy or the producer, whoever the hell it is. But it's gotten old by this point. I mean, this is what, like the fourth episode in? Let me see. There was Daniel, Mindy, Roy, and then Delphina. By only the fourth episode in, this little interchange that she does with the producer is already old. It's already boring. It's already, you're talking to yourself. Why is this guy interested in how you made sun tea as a kid? Why is this guy interested in how you're making dog biscuits for your dog? So already she's kind of losing in the overall picture because of this very tired little routine that she's doing. That's number one. The second thing is that the amount of attention that she gives Guy, it's actually creepy to me because I don't think that she cared one whit for this dog. And tell me, your older senior dog, senior in age, is, he's on his final days. Let me take him and his bed to my fake house and make him sit there with me all day while I film this thing and make him dog biscuits. Why are you doing that to your dog? I mean, is it just me? But that to me seems like you're torturing the poor dog. Let him stay at home with the environment that he's used to and his friends, the other 2 dogs, and the kids, presumably. Why are you making this older dog spend the day at work with you? And the second thing is, why is this woman walking around in a kitchen barefoot? The thing is, it's so obvious that the reason Meghan is barefoot in this episode is because Delphina comes in and she's wearing heels, and Meghan right away feels inferior because she's half the size of Delphina, and so it gives her the opportunity to say to Delphina, well, take your shoes off, so that Meghan doesn't have to look like the short one, which she very clearly is. Watching it, all you can think is, like, are there any hygiene standards in any of these episodes? She's tasting spoons and putting them back in the mix, the preserves, which preserves are probably fine in that the preserves you're boiling it at such a high temperature that you're preserving it. The whole point of preserves is that you're eliminating antibacteria. But everything else, the sauces and the frittatas and the this and the yogurts, everything, she's tasting it and then putting the spoon back in, and it's gross. And then you see her scampering about the kitchen barefoot after she's just been in the garden. I mean, it's gross. I'm sorry, I'm not a neat freak. I'm not someone who's like a germaphobe or anything like that. And I find it disturbing because we are so used to seeing better in all of the cooking shows that we now see. This was fine when Julia Child did it, but now the standards are higher and Meghan is just not conforming to the standards. So that's all before we've gotten anywhere, before Delphina has even stepped on the stage. She does a little thing where she explains how her and Delphina always go hiking with the boys. Oh, it's puke-inducing. But she does do, talking about how her and Delphina are such good friends, and Delphina is more beautiful on the outside on the inside than she is on the outside. It's just, you just want to throw up. Really? I mean, that's the overriding theme that I feel, the need to vomit. Honestly, one question that I keep asking and never get a satisfactory answer: who gave these people another rescue animal? I mean, no. Please stop giving this woman animals. She doesn't deserve them. And I talk about my dog all the time. I love my dog as much as I do my kids. And I'm not kidding. So to see them continue to, this dog looks sad to me, and it just makes me feel all yucky inside at the thought of this woman being given more dogs. And Harry too. He's just as bad. When I see this photo, my first thought is, I hope the freaking dog bit him. I mean, anybody who loves and cherishes dogs, dogs don't like that. They don't like being put in that position of being, kowtowing to the alpha, and you're locking them in place. It's a horrible thing. And I've seen photos, I think the last time I saw it was at the Windsor Walkabout, where you see William interacting with the dogs, and he's very respectful to other people's dogs. He doesn't do this to other people's dogs. Seriously, I hope the dog bit him. Harry, not William. So the rest of the episode with Delphina, of course, after she makes Delphina take her shoes off, which it's just not in the kitchen. So in this episode, Megxit is really pushing her little stint in Argentina, where, she was supposedly there for an internship at the embassy, because, of course, Delphina is from Argentina, and so Meghan talks all about how she knows Argentinian Spanish. Again, I just sound like a broken record, so I'm going to stop saying the same thing over and over again. But in the episode, like I said, we see her with she's making the focaccia, and of course Delphina needs to learn how to make focaccia from Meghan. Isn't Delphina like a billionaire or something like that? Not even Nacho. Nacho isn't the one that makes the money. It's Delphina, or that has the money. Delphina has the money. I'm pretty sure Delphina's not sitting at home making focaccia. I would bet money on that. And it's interesting that after this was filmed, She was then at the Gwyneth Paltrow thing. So I wonder how the situation is with Meghan and Delphina now. I mean, Delphina isn't necessarily doing the smart thing by hanging with Megxit if Megxit is so disliked in Hollywood. So which is it? Is Megxit truly disliked in Hollywood? Or is that just all the PR that we hear? I mean, I don't know. I hear it a lot, but I don't see a lot of evidence of it. I just find that interesting. I wonder if we're all just being played. Who knows? But, of course, Meghan has to say things that just make you sit there and say, no, you did not just say that. Like when she talks all about how she used to be intimidated by roasting a chicken. Yep, she says it. Because, she's just that ridiculous. And there's something about the way that she does. I mean, we all know that when we, quote unquote, watch Giada make a, focaccia, that she lets the dough rise and pulls out a different one that has already risen that she made the day before or whatever. Somehow it seems less authentic when Meghan does that. And probably because I don't believe she sat there prepping for this the day before. Someone else made it. You know what I mean? I just don't have any faith that Meghan truly made the dough the day before. So the product that is eventually eaten is never the product that Meghan made, except for the fruit slices and the veggies she chopped, But while the dough is rising, even though she openly says that she pulled out a different, and you can see in the photo, pulled out the pre-made dough, they go hiking while the dough rises. Well, why are you doing that? You just told us that you have it pre-made. So what's with the hiking? It very easily could have been clipped better where they put the dough in the fridge to let it rise, they go do the hiking, and then they come back and take it out. But they didn't do that. Why not? It's illogical. So there are people better than me that would have a much better grasp of the whole story that Meghan presents of her time in Argentina. I mean, she says she was there for a few months. I thought she was there for a few weeks, but I'll leave that to other people to correct me on what exactly the timeline is that Meghan claims. But when you look at how the stories are all old news and the presentation of ideas is things that have been done better by better people many times before, it's so clear that her demographic is skewed younger. Because anybody else, like I said, finds this old news. The ideas aren't fresh. The presentation style is not fresh. And so it has to be trying to get that younger demographic that is for whom all of this would be new. And think about it. If she manages to tap into that demographic, my daughter's been at work all day, or school and work all day. So when she gets home, I'm going to actually ask her if she would watch it, because she would be the target demographic, and whether or not she would consider this new or unique or interesting. I'll let you know what she says. But if that is their intention, and if that is the demographic they're looking for, I don't know that this is going to be as bad of an episode of a series as we may want it to be. That would be a way that this could actually be something of a success. And wouldn't that be just a kick in the ass? Oh, I almost forgot. So as Meghan and Delphina are hiking through the foothills of California, Delphina is asking her about whether or not she was ever a Girl Scout. And Meghan replies, "Oh, of course I was a Daisy." And as she's sitting there talking about it, she says, "Oh, and my mom was my troop leader." I mean, I believe that Catherine is the one who made Meghan cry sooner than I would believe that Dorito was a Daisy troop leader. I mean, there's no alternate reality universe where that would have happened. I mean, it never would have. One thing that I can say about this episode, we have no doubt about when it was filmed. This was clearly filmed around the time of the Trooping of the Color, because they have all of the elements of Nacho's post So it would have been done at least before that. Let's put it that way. And I do believe that, they had the post ready to go so that they could actually post it the morning of the trooping, or whenever it was that Catherine made her appearance. And you see all of the elements, right? You see she talks about the dog, she has the dog biscuits, and she has the raspberry preserves. She gave her 2 jars, and those are the 2 of 2 jars that you see in that post from Nacho. I mean, the tackiness of that and posting it on the day of the trooping of the color. I do wonder whether or not Nacho knew when he was doing it, if he knew about Catherine showing up at trooping, or whether or not Meghan just tricked him into that. Either way, I mean, it was tacky and it was horrible. Additionally, she goes back, she makes some lavender towels for, the thing about the episodes is they kind of bounce back and forth between the things that she did to prepare for Delphina's visit and then the things that she actually does with Delphina. And so the lavender towels are done ahead of time so that when they come back from their hike, they can put the cooling towels all over themselves. I mean, enough is enough. But, she goes very overboard on the caring for her guest motif theme, whatever it is. And finally, another question that I have, because this is the 4th episode, so I did, I think, 3 episodes in this, 2 really. And then I may skip forward and kind of do some of the last few, because I also want to do, I know that Samantha and Junior had reactions to this, so I'm going to look at both of those. So I might do that next. But while she is doing any of the prep work, she's in one kitchen. And when she does, so it looks like maybe it's a garden kitchen. I don't know. It's a full freaking kitchen. It's bigger than the kitchen that I have. And then when they are doing the actual cooking and whatnot with the guest chef or guest, period, it's in a different kitchen. Why is that? I mean, and this is supposed to be some sort of normal lifestyle, right? I mean, it's so clearly geared towards nothing but the most affluent. But I will say I haven't seen much in terms of products that would be for sale on, as ever. Maybe the candles, maybe I don't think the lavender towels would be something that I mean, the problem is how is she going to sell these products when the whole point of her theme is, well, this is all so easy, you can do it yourself. If I can do it myself, why am I going to buy anything from you? So that should be interesting because it's kind of, direct opposition of what she claims the whole purpose is, isn't it? No, it really isn't. So let me know what you think. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts and your reactions to all of this. So today we have part 2 of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And honestly, this is like, I did the other 2 videos about Meghan's TV show today, and I probably should take a break from it before I do this one, but I'm going to the dentist tomorrow and I don't expect to be able to talk after I go to the dentist, so I wanted to get this done to make sure that I had it done. So I do apologize maybe if I'm not in bad shape after going to the dentist tomorrow. I will try and redo this, but for now there's just too much in here that I already had to comment on. So even though I am admittedly a little tired of Meghan and a little less patience with her at this point, I do have things worth noting. So let's get into this. This is the episode where she has her friends over. And what's interesting is that the episode starts out with her kind of driving through Montecito and being like, oh, here's my farmer's market. Here's where I buy my flowers and all that nonsense. But what's interesting to me is it made me think back to all those pap walks that she'd done. And I almost felt like they may have been almost like her putting that out there so that we could never say, oh, she never goes to the farmer's market. You know what I mean? Because she's wearing different clothes. So she goes to the farmer's market, back a year and a half ago so that she can kind of establish a pattern of behavior so no one can ever say, she's never been to the farmer's market. That was just my opinion. And it also makes me think that episodes were filmed quite a while ago. I think that this footage was done at least a year ago. But while she's in the car, pointing out, oh, there's my farmer's market, check out the frickin' wrinkles. I mean, this woman is supposed to be a decade younger than I am. I don't have those wrinkles. What the heck is going on there, Meghan? You need we know she does Botox. So how is that not getting taken care of? I don't know. I don't understand it. It shocked me quite a bit to see that. But it also tells me there's no way this woman is 43. This is the episode where she has Kelly and Abigail. And I guess Abigail does something with flowers. One of them has a flower shop. I don't know. But why would you do flowers when your guest is an expert in flowers? Like, she's doing the opposite of what I would expect, I think it's Abigail maybe that has a floral shop. So why are you doing these flowers? What, so that your friend who's an expert can come in and say, oh, you did a wonderful job? Or how about we know Abigail helped her plan this and do this because Abigail is the florist. So do it in a different episode. But by the way, I hate this. I think it's messy. I understand that was her goal. Her goal was for a wild floral pattern or floral design. I don't like it. It's just me. She didn't even know what a dogwood was when she went into the floral shop, but we're supposed to think that she goes to the florist all the time. I mean, it's so ludicrous. I can't even. And then there's another point here where she does another thing where she contradicts herself. Oh, that's right, here. So it was in, I think, the second episode, the Mindy Kaling episode, where as she's waiting for Mindy, she's like, oh, I'm just going to whip up a frittata because I forgot to cook something. Well, really, you're just whipping up a frittata? But you say right here, I never let a guest arrive without something on the table. So that means you would have planned something. So clearly that frittata was not something you whipped up on a whim. And this is where she does the crudité platter that she elevates by merely drizzling some oil over a store-bought hummus spread. And of course, that was because sometimes you just don't have time to do the hummus. You only have time to cut this gazillions of vegetables for the three women who are stick figures who probably ate, one each. And she's sitting there and saying, she doesn't have time. Well, really, you didn't need all that veggies. You could have had half that veggies, a third of the veggies that you cut, and made your hummus. But whatever, But this episode, the big focus, the big meal that they're going to create is salt-baked branzino. One of the other things that she does in this episode, this is the one where she does the flowers and the ice cubes. And she also does this thing where she puts orange juice in these rose molds, ice cube molds, so that when she goes to make the mimosas, they're always drinking. Every freaking episode, they're all half blitzed. But she takes these roses, orange juice made to look like roses, and puts them at the bottom of the glass and then pours the champagne over it for her mimosa. Whatever. But of all the things that she said, she's sitting here and she's telling Kelly and Abigail about the last time that she made the salt-baked trout. It was because Archie, they were on a camping trip, right? Like, come on. Seriously? We're supposed to believe Meghan went on a camping trip? But she's saying that she went on this camping trip with the kids and Archie and Lily each caught a trout. So she had 2 kids, 2 trouts. Let's do these salt-baked fish. Well, why aren't you showing us pictures of that? Why aren't you showing us pictures of the kids with the trout? Why aren't you showing the pictures of the kids eating the salt-baked trout? Because it never happened. And there are no kids. Like, it's so ridiculous because by pointing it out this way, she just makes it more obvious that what any other celebrity in that situation would do is that's where they would show the photos of their kids doing that activity that they're talking about doing with their kids. And she doesn't have those pictures. Why she didn't fake them, I don't know. She's faked everything else, but she didn't. Of course, right? You couldn't have put them in front of the, trout and gotten just the backs of their heads? No. I don't understand her. I really don't. So by the end, the three of them are eating and drinking. And at one point, Abigail and Kelly are talking about how they met separately from Meghan. And Meghan is kind of not really a part of the topic. And you could tell right away she had this little post on her face. She couldn't hide it. It was total mask slip, where she didn't like the fact that they were talking about something that was between the two of them that she wasn't involved in. And of course, it's only for a brief second, but I saw it. But the three of them are talking about how they became friends and they're eating and they all get drunk. And that's about the end of this one. Honestly, this one was one of the ones that I was actually expecting to, kind of look at the closest and not, I wouldn't say enjoy it most, but that I was going to look the most closely at, because these are two people who I actually know, the two people. And no, it was actually, seriously, I'm not trying to even, I was looking to watch this one. I thought this one would be the most interesting, and this one was literally the most boring of them. The three of them, these are, two actresses and a, supposed activist. They should be charm personified, and really, the three of them were incredibly boring. And that was, like I said, I was surprised. I was expecting more from this episode. But let's move on to the next one. What I'm doing here is I'm watching an episode and then I'm reacting to it, so that I'm reacting to it when it's fresh in my head, and so that it's a little bit easier to kind of keep the episodes separate from each other, so that I'm only reacting to what I just saw. And I have to say, I wouldn't say that I enjoyed the first 4 episodes, but there was at least things to note, it didn't bore me. It aggravated me, and I felt like I would have rather gone through a root canal than actually watched those episodes, but they didn't bore me to the point where I wasn't even paying attention. The episode with the friends Abigail and Kelly, stunningly, that one really bored me, and I wasn't expecting it to. So then when I came to the next one, oh my goodness, this wow, I didn't even know what the heck was happening halfway through, because I literally tuned out. Now, this one, she starts it out by making avocado toast. And she makes some just for herself. And then she makes an avocado toast sandwich for her crew guy. I mean, it was just very odd the way she did it. And especially because as the rest of the episode went on, it had nothing to do with breakfast and it had nothing to do with the avocado toast. So it was clearly just a filler. And I think that's what the problem is that is starting to come. The first few episodes kind of ran a little bit more naturally, but they started getting to be a little bit too piecemeal. And that's when they started to get really boring. So after she makes the avocado toast, she then tells us that she is going to have her friends come over for game night, and she wants to make a taco bar. Spoiler alert. They don't make any tacos. Has a celebrity chef come over to teach her how to make this taco bar. And I'm not even going to show a picture of him. I'm not going to give you his name, because really it would do him a disservice. He seemed like a capable, good chef, very personable and whatnot. I don't want him associated with this in any way. So he comes in and they make a ceviche, which, okay, that's fine. It seemed to be very good. I'm not a ceviche eater, but okay, it seems okay. But the problem with it that I didn't really understand was, how is that a part of a taco bar? I guess I think of a taco bar, I think of, what we do at my house on Taco Tuesdays. That's not what this was. This was, I guess you could say that it was basically just this kind of random buffet that had a vaguely Tex-Mex sort of a feel to it. I don't know. They did the ceviche. She did some plantain chips. Then they did a chicken tikka. I mean, how is that a taco bar. And then I guess they did some sort of little nachos that then they put something in it. I don't know. But that's what she said she was doing. And it's weird because she seems to, quote unquote, love the plating, but she does it very awkwardly. She does this two-fingered plating. You can see the photo of it there. And this two-fingered plating is like her thing. I don't know. It's something about it is very awkward, the way she does it. I mean, this is no, Gordon Ramsay sitting there plating it up nicely. And the whole point of this, what were the friends coming over for? Her friends were coming over to play game night, to have game night where they play Mahjong. And this is the episode where you see Tracy Roberts and then these two other random people who I've never seen before in my life. Actually, I take that back. Are these the Godmother women? No, I don't think so. I don't know who they were. I seriously, I'm trying to rack my brain and remember who they were. I have no idea who they were, but they play Mahjong with Tracy Roberts and Meghan on a weekly basis. It was very odd. These are the women. She didn't introduce them the way she did Tracy and Kelly and Abigail, or if she did, I completely missed it, which is also possible. Like I said, there were parts where I was just kind of tuned out. But she I don't think she introduced them the way she did the others. I assume that they're people whose names you won't know, but they're wealthy women of LA or Montecito. I don't think Montecito, though, right? Didn't she say none of her friends? At one point, I think she said none of her friends are from Montecito. So, yeah, I don't know who these random women were, but it was interesting because as they were playing Mahjong, which my understanding, I don't play Mahjong. I don't know how. But my understanding is that it can get pretty, brutally competitive. At one point, one of the women is like, no, we help each other play. I mean, this is the type of crowd. These are the people that, everybody gets a participation trophy kind of thing. No competition, no actual, spirit of the game. I don't know. It was very boring to watch them play Mahjong, as essentially they were just, helping each other play. It was weird. I feel like a broken record, but it was odd the way that they were not really playing a game. They were just coexisting during a game. At one point Megan's like, oh, I'm going to take the bunch or whatever the heck it is. Like I said, I don't know how to play Mahjong, but she's like, I'm going to take it. And they're like, oh, you're a brave girl. Good girl. And I was like, come on. Are you playing a game against each other? Or are you rooting? Anyway, very woke crowd, clearly. And so they sat, they ate their little nibbles, played their game, and drank margaritas. So that was this episode. And like I said, the celebrity chef, really seemed like a good guy. That's why I don't even want to associate him with this. So that brings us to the next episode. And I think all the people that we quote unquote know as Meghan's friends, we've been through them all. So who the heck is left? Well, with the next one, we're now going to do some at-home beauty treatments. I mean, elevating the everyday. I swear to God, that's the title of the next one. Anyway, let's move on. Let's work through these. We got 2 more left. We can do it. So this one, again, she is with her friend Vicky, who is someone who she has known apparently since she did the TIG. And apparently Vicky was one of the first guest people on the TIG because she did a travel guide to Kyoto. So Vicky is very... she's very sophisticated, if you ask me. I think that part of the reason this episode didn't work is because she is too sophisticated for Meghan. And the problem is that as a result, Meghan tried to increase her level of sophistication to meet up with Vicky's, and it comes off as being insincere and pretentious because Meghan isn't that sophisticated. But she starts out where she's going to make a harvest basket for Vicky, and the most amazing thing about it was that she has yet another Northwestern sweatshirt. And seriously, that was the most interesting thing about this harvest basket. Other than that, it was just basically vegetables that she picked from the garden. And then the whole point is that she used all this vegetable array in order to elevate the store-bought croissants. I kid you not. That's essentially what she went through this whole basket just to do. So then Vicky comes over and they start making pot stickers. Now, if you ask me, there are, and maybe that's what it is that the other issue that I had with this episode is that there were themes that ran through it. So first of all is the theme of push the story, push Meghan's whole background, I guess, because she's doing a lot of talking about Doria and how Doria was a travel agent and her mom always used to travel. She's got the Northwestern sweatshirt on. It just, and you know, a lot of talking about the TIG. It just seemed like she was pushing it too hard in this episode. So that was one thing. Another thing that she pushed in this episode was that she has such a spicy palate. I swear to God, throughout the whole thing, she makes a chili oil. They're making the pot stickers. And of course, Meghan is trying to make them spicier. And so, yeah, so that's the other thing. So she's got, you know, pushing Doria's past, pushing the spiciness of her palate because her palate is so sophisticated. Again, she's trying to match Vicky's sophistication level, and she's just falling so short that it ends up flopping, essentially. And then the third thing is that the title of this episode is Elevating the Everyday. So again, not that she hasn't been doing that since the beginning of the series. She's put in, you know, elevating the ordinary has been a part of every episode. But because that is the title of this episode, she really oversells it. And that's a continuous issue with all of the episodes. Whenever Meghan tries to oversell, she ends up just coming off horribly. She overdoes it. Vicky has too much. She can't,
and so
she can't fulfill the promise of what she sells, and so as a result,
seems to be just totally against the whole
disingenuous,
theory.
And it
why
flops.
are we buying your products, which
Then
are on
in
here
the
to
end,
advertise?
clearly, if we can do it ourselves at home.
And Vicky has a skincare line, and so then they do these do-it-yourself at-home spa treatments, which again seems to be just totally against.
And obviously, as Vicky is, you know, she has the skincare line. She is clearly the expert in all of this. And again, this is where she's almost too sophisticated for this show. Because what she's talking about, I mean, she's talking about how, you know, there's a connection in Asian culture between cleaning of the skin and cleaning of the soul, and that it's, you know, you as you clean your skin, you let go of the things that are not helping you, so to speak. And again, all very good stuff and all very interesting, but it makes Meghan seem so flat compared. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's whereas Meghan should be the sponge there taking in the expertise of this other person, Meghan won't be that second fiddle. And since she doesn't want to play that, you know, supporting act, that's where it becomes her trying to almost compete with her. And that's when Meghan comes off poorly. So that's where the disconnect comes in. And that's probably, I mean, I hope I'm describing it okay, but that's where it is that the show loses its own sincerity almost. And here we go. Finally, the last episode. And presumably this is the one that we're going to see Harry. I mean, the fact that he hasn't been in any of this, well, why would he be in any of this? It's not at his house. None of this is at his house. And again, I still want to know why they have two separate kitchens and the garden is hers. But they still haven't explained any of that. And I will also say that as the episodes got more boring, I was a little bit more relieved. Honestly, with the first few episodes, I could see that appealing to the younger demographic that Meghan is, you know, courting, essentially. And I could see them kind of liking it. But as the episodes went on, I was a lot less afraid of that. Because, like, for example, this Vicky person, she was very knowledgeable, very deep, very, very charismatic in getting across her message, but I do think that it would be far too sophisticated for the average teenager to enjoy. In this final episode, she is having a brunch for her family and friends. That's why Harry shows up. Of course, no kids. And Doria is there, but no kids. But before she does this, she's having this chef over to help her prepare the food for it. And it's very odd because first what she does is she puts all the stuff out for the brunch. And then she goes back into her little, prep kitchen. That's the only thing I can call it, with the two different kitchens. And when she's in the little mini kitchen, she's in there doing and creating these wrapped presents for the guest chef that's coming over to help her do her brunch. So it's like, why are you giving this woman gifts? She's she's coming over to help you. You're hiring her. And then you're going to go sit there and gift wrap all these presents for her. It's very, very odd. I guess they needed something to fill up the time with. And she hadn't wrapped any presents yet. So let's do that. Let's elevate our gift wrap. And this screen grab that I happen to get. I mean, talk about a Stepford wife, right? I mean, didn't the Stepford wives even have like that? Because it was in the 60s, like that polka dot with that halter top. Like, honestly, she could not look more like a Stepford wife in this whole little getup. And then she's here with this kind of blank expression on her face. And all I could think was Stepford wife. I don't know. I mean, is it just me? I look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments because I do wonder if you've had the same thought. Look at it. It's like she's got that empty robotic, android woman stare, and she's got the polka dot halter top 60s housewife dress. That's what I saw. So this is the chef restaurateur that comes to her. It's Alice Waters. She's an older woman. She very much so seems to be one of the leading proponents of the farm to table movement. So clearly she is loving Meghan's very homegrown sort of, let me go right out to my garden and pick the vegetables that I'm going to then serve. Very much so saying, I think she said something like, if you have a garden, it's like being able to print your own money because you have everything right there at your fingertips. So that's very much so her point of view, and she loves Meghan's, that she's got her own chickens and her own eggs and all of it. I mean, for me, it was a bit much. I mean, this woman seems very sweet and very lovely. And again, too sophisticated for Meghan. I mean, Meghan's sitting there like fangirling her the whole time. But more than that, it was not very interesting. I mean, she's a brilliant woman, don't get me wrong. She seems to have done a lot of work and is a very accomplished woman. But yeah, it just wasn't very interesting. And I don't like saying that because I don't think it was the woman's fault. Again, it's Meghan can't interact well with people who are on this sort of higher plane than her. And that's what makes it a boring show. Not the people, they're very interesting, but there isn't any of that interaction. So without that interaction, without her having someone to play off of, having someone else as a part of the conversation, it just falls very flat. And like she's almost lecturing us, which that's not her intention. And you can tell that she's very, very sincere in her appreciation of the foods and the tastes and, the freshness of the food. But Meghan just can't uphold her end of the conversation. Odd, because first what they do is they make, another quiche, frittata, something with all the eggs. And they love the egg yolk colors and things like that. But they do all that, and then they sit down to plan the brunch. So it's like she's feeding her at the same time as she's helping her cook. It's all, a bit odd. It's clearly contrived. But like I said, in the first few episodes, the way that they interacted with each other did a much better job. I don't know if they were running out of ideas or what it is, but it just didn't flow as well in the later episodes.
Now, it's funny because once Alice essentially leaves, she does the quiche and then she's gone. After that, this then becomes the Meghan show, where everything that she does is pretty much tooting her own horn. She spends an awful lot of time doing the calligraphy and showing how she's going to sit there and spend all that time perfectly creating this menu that she is going to give to her guests. And then the next thing is, she's got this dessert planned. And of course, what is it? It's a jelly roll that she's going to go ahead and use. What? Her jam. So, because jam is her jam, that's where it becomes, just a little too much Meghan for me. It's a bit much. I mean, she does these cookies with the jam little dollops on top, but it's the fact that everything then just becomes all about Meghan. And then you get the final little, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Do you want to call it like the final little party where everybody's together then? Yeah, you get that eventually. Oh, and here's another thing. Like when she's sitting there and she's plating things, here's part of what it is. She's putting flowers all over freaking everything. I mean, nobody likes that many flowers in their food. But what she does is when she puts it in, it's like she's always pressing it down. It's odd. It's just so odd. She makes crepes. I guess that's why there was something on her website that was like pancakes and crepe mix, right? Well, again, these are things that you're trying to tell people they can do it themselves with their fresh ingredients at home. Why are we going to buy your pancake mix, right? Now, another thing that was strange about this episode is everything she tasted. And that's odd because that wasn't the case in everything. She wasn't always tasting all of the sauces and the dips and the preserves and the crepes. Here, every single thing she tasted. And all I could think was, well, where the hell was this tasting before? I don't know. There was something very different about, maybe it's because she was like on her own in the kitchen in this one. And that was like kind of the only time she really was. I don't know, other than when she would make, her little pre-meal. And it is the end then when you have Doria and you have Harry there and everybody telling Meghan how wonderful she is. And that's pretty much how the series ends. And at that point, you are very relieved that it is over. Maybe that's just me because I did watch all 8 episodes in one day. So yeah, it was a bit of overkill, but it's, even still, I did see a difference from the first few episodes to the last few episodes. The first few episodes, I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't despise it. At the end, I'm just like, please, just freaking end already. Please, it's got to end. Because there's just a lot. And I mean, I was somewhat incented to watch it in that, at least, if nothing else, I was going to find, fault with it. But I can't imagine people without any incentive watching it. I mean, you would have no reason to, really. After all this, what I want to hear most is I want to hear your reactions. I want to hear, are you going to watch it? What do you think? Do you think that I did a good job? Do you think you got a good sense of it? Tell me everything. I feel like I've talked all day long to you all. And even though, it's split up into a bunch of different videos, now I just really can't wait to hear your reactions and to get, the responses from you. So please do put your thoughts down in the comments. So you may have seen on my X page that I had found some of the events during which these people that are a part of Megxit's show, when they had been seen in the same clothes. Because it leads me to think that these were in fact when those photos were taken. So let's go ahead and look through this. So let's start out with this crew of people who were a part of Megxit's game night episode. And these 3 people are the ones that are a part of her Mahjong playing group. Now, across from Meghan directly, Meghan's got her back to us. Across from Meghan is Tracy Robbins. That's the owner of Paramount, or the CEO of Paramount, and his wife, that they went to Jamaica with. Then you have the 2 people on either side of them And those are the two women that owned the Godmother's bookstore. One's Victoria, the other one's Jennifer. So that's how Meghan supposedly connects to these two, is through her little mahjong group. I would imagine there is no such thing. I don't even know if they all knew how to play the game, but I think it's very interesting that when you go through all the people other than the celebrity chefs, they're all her supposed friends, but none of them are really her friend. Now, next up, here's Abigail Spencer with the basket of jam and lemons, and see her black dress with the little ruffled cap sleeves. I mean, if these three musketeers are going to be together all the time, how come all the photos are the same day that the filming happened? Because this photo, she's wearing the same dress as she wears here. And you can see that it's the same outfit, the hair is done the same, the jewelry is the same. It just, to me, that says they aren't really the friends that Meghan pretends they are. This one's Kelly. This one's kind of the doozy. First off, check out the necklace, right? So it's the chunky gold necklace. I believe it's in the shape of a heart. Notice how her hair, it's parted down the middle and then down in beachy waves on either side. And notice her flowing white dress with a little bit of eyelet lace pattern on it. And the capped sleeves that are 3/4 sleeves that kind of balloon out on top. Now, the photo of Kelly with the basket, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what day that is. It looks like she changed. But according to this, from what I see, this is the same hair style on both Meghan and Kelly as it is from the TV show. And you also see that Kelly has the chunky gold necklace that's in the shape of a heart. I believe that, Kelly changed clothes, obviously, because she was trying to, spread the word on her charity, but it was taken the same day as the TV show was filmed. But there's more. As Tammy on X pointed out, she felt as though she had seen that dress before. She was thinking on Abigail. She was saying that she felt this must then be Abigail. If they were taking the pictures, she did the photo with the cap sleeve black dress. This must be she just changed her clothes. No. If you watch the episode, you can actually see it. Tammy, great catch. Because it's not Abigail. That's Kelly. Now, again, let's go back to this dress. You can see the cap sleeves, which are also on the picture supposedly with Lily in the field. You can see that it's kind of a white dress, a lightweight white cotton dress, long beachy waves, because Megxit isn't ridiculous enough. Again, Kelly. You can see the cap sleeves, you can see the long flowy white dress. Now, not only were all the jam pictures taken the same day as the filming of the show, but you also probably where Mindy got it too, but you also have her actually placing Kelly as the supposed Meghan in the As Ever website. Now, could they be sharing clothes? Well, yeah, they could be. But it seems highly unlikely that, given the fact that Meghan, wants more clothes at the drop of a hat, why would she not get special clothes for her and her buddies for their special TV appearance? I just don't think that Kelly would borrow a dress instead of coming with her own ready to wear. This woman is so ridiculous, it actually defies logic. But I have to ask, why? Why not take a picture of Meghan sitting behind a kid with the dog there? Why can't Meghan be the one that's running across the lawn? Why is she using Kelly as like her stunt double? I mean, maybe Meghan can't afford, the photo shoots or whatever, so she's not a professional photographer. She's sitting there taking the pictures herself. But why couldn't either Abigail or Kelly take the picture and the picture be of Meghan? I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. And the other obvious question is, who's the kid? Whose kid is it? I mean, I would say it might be Kelly's kid, but I'm pretty sure Kelly has boys. And I guess they could have just, photoshopped the hair on or put a wig on the kid. Yeah, I mean, they could have, but that's an awful lot of trouble to go through. So, do we know who the little girl is? Could it be that Stassi woman? Well, why wasn't she in the photos? Why do all these people let her get away with it? I mean, using their images of themselves and switching them up, changing them around, putting Kelly on the website. I mean, Kelly has to be giving her permission for it, saying, yeah, go ahead, you can use my likeness. But doesn't that seem like an odd thing to say yes to? And weren't these the same people that did the tennis tournament? So once again, it calls all that into question. Was Harry really there? Why aren't these people telling us the truth of the matter? I mean, I just don't understand it. Why wouldn't the picture just be of Meghan? But is Meghan the only one that knows how to work a camera? And this is Meghan we're talking about. When has she ever not wanted to be the one front and center in the picture? She pushes kids out of the way to get in place on the picture. So why is she letting Kelly get the limelight? The other thing that seems pretty clear to me is these are all business relationships. These aren't friendships. None of these are true friends because everybody's in it for something. Kelly wants exposure for her charity. Abigail's an actress that probably wants a gig. I mean, all these people that she's acquiring and really using, they're all doing the same thing. I mean, you got the skincare woman that went on the show, and that's the one that Meghan gave Oprah a gift from her or whatever, from her skincare line. Every single one of them is getting their own publicity for whatever it is that they're doing or they're interested in or their cause as much as they can. In a way, they're the ones exploiting Megxit. One more thing that I had forgotten to include when I was doing the, good, the bad, the ugly, when I was doing the review of the actual episodes, that final episode, Doria and Harry don't say a word. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kelly talks during that little final brunch finale party, but neither Harry or Doria say a word at all. I mean, was Doria really there? Was Harry really there? I mean, these things were filmed over a year ago. So, I mean, just based on the fact that the day that, what was it, April something or other, that the jam with the photo of which one? Abigail and the jam came out. So it had to have been filmed before that, which was about a year ago. So, where is Harry? Where is Doria? Have they just kind of, skedaddled along their way? I mean, I've been saying for a while, I do believe Harry's in the UK. I believe that when they went to Colombia, Harry went back to the UK. He did not go back to Montecito that time. That's my opinion, allegedly. Do your own research and form your own conclusions. So that's all I have for you today. I said it was going to be a quickie just because I caught that last night and I just had to share it. Oh boy. This has just been a fun week when it comes to the Megxit antics. First we have her TV show and then we get her family grifting off of it. So really it's just a combination of beautiful, right? Anyway, I've looked at some of the episodes. I think I looked at the first 4 episodes so far of Megxit's extravaganza. And I have some interesting thoughts about it. Unfortunately, it may not be the flop that we want it to be. But for more on that, go ahead and watch the video I did of the second part of, the first, I think it's like the episodes 2 through 4. But this video, I am going to focus on the family reaction because, of course, Meghan put something out and both Samantha and Junior felt the need to grift off of it. So we have an interview with Junior and Kevin, and then we have a Dan Wooten bitch fest. So I'm going to look at bits and pieces of both of those. I'm not really going to look at the other conversations around Dan Wooten's presentation. I mean, there's a couple funny things that the squatties are up to, but other than that, I am going to focus primarily on just what Samantha says in that interview or that wine-a-thon. So let's get into this.
Meghan Markle's new cooking and gardening series. It's a 8-part series, 40 minutes an episode. I suffered a couple of them myself this morning. Anyway, we thought we would hire our own guest TV critic. Who better than to take a look at this series and deliver his verdict than Meghan's brother, Thomas Markle Jr. I sat down with him earlier today, and this is his review. Welcome, Tom. Thank you for standing in to be our special critic for the day. Now, we've both watched...
Exactly is he all grinny about? I mean, that just goes back to my feeling that they love the attention that Meghan's notoriety gives them. They love the attention as much as she does. And this man that, we had the Daily Mail article, which said they were going off to Southeast Asia to go disappear themselves. And then he came back 2 weeks later and said, "You're going to see more of me than ever before." I mean, it makes no sense. And where is Senior? Where is Thomas Markle Senior? Is he still alive? Can we get a proof of life from him? And while we're at it, how about a proof that Samantha and Junior still speak, or that Samantha speaks to Senior? All of those things would be much appreciated. Thank you very much, Markles. If you haven't seen it, you might want to check out the short I have of Thomas Markle Jr. apologizing to me. I happen to be quite proud of that. I am sure he absolutely loves it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. The more people that see it, the less he'll like it.
I might say endured with Love, Meghan. It's finally hit Netflix today. I won't try and lead you down your avenue, but what are your first impressions? What did you think of the show?
Well, I think you hit it the nail on the head right off the bat by endured. But the opening scene, honestly, the opening scene with the bees. The first thing I thought was like, oh my God, Meghan's going to stick her face in a box of bees, and it's going to be called Botox with Meghan. I don't know.
That's the next series, Tom. That's the next series.
Yeah.
My feeling about it was
Kevin doesn't have the Wooten level experience of interviewing a Markle, so Kevin has no problem interrupting Junior while he's speaking and keeping, some sort of control over the interview, which is definitely different. But the funny thing is you can see Thomas being, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it any better than Samantha does. That's why it's actually quite funny. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the few episodes where Samantha is talking on the phone on Junior's live stream, and the two of them just fighting for a moment to be the one to talk. Thomas Jr. has learned just to keep his mouth shut and let her speak, because it just becomes the Samantha show.
And I just thought, I didn't expect it to be interesting. I don't think I'm the kind of target market, but I just found it absolutely stunningly boring. What about you?
Yeah, the first 5 minutes, it was just so bland and generic, and it looked like so much effort was made, like put into it to make it look bland. It was just so blah. There was nothing sparkling about it. Nothing jumped out. It was just Meghan talking in that bland, generic voice.
Twice now that he mentioned what it was that he had seen of it, and never mentioned more than the first 5 minutes. Call me a cynic, and I am, but I don't believe that Thomas watched more than 10 minutes of it. I really don't. I really don't think he could sit through it. I mean, I sat through it, and it was torturous. This is not a man who is going to sit through it, even so he can do an interview about it. He was not going to give his sister any more attention than he felt she deserved, and he felt she deserved none. Just my opinion, allegedly. Do your own research and form your own conclusions. My impression is he did not watch more than 10 minutes of the entire series. And all 8 episodes dropped yesterday, all at once. So I don't think he watched any more than 10 minutes of the first episode.
about nothing.
Indeed. And now, you know, Meghan, when you were kids, when you were growing up together, did she make you all food all the time? She seems to portray herself as the kind of person who does that.
Yeah, I noticed when she said that she grew up like watching cooking shows and grew up cooking all the time. And that wasn't the case. I mean, I do have to hand it to Doria. Doria is a great cook. I mean, by far a great cook. But Meghan, I don't think it, the only thing that really made sense is when she started cooking bath salts there on the show and started talking about teabagging or something like that. I don't get it. She didn't cook anything for anybody ever growing up.
Yeah.
But when she started cooking bath salts on the show, then it all made sense.
Freaking idiot. I'm sorry, but literally he didn't watch more than the first 10 minutes, because it's in the first 10 minutes that she puts together bath salts. She doesn't cook bath salts. And the fact that he can sit there and say she never cooked anything, how the hell would he know? He moved out of the house when she was, 4, 5, if that? He didn't live with her. How the hell would he know what her life was like? How the hell would Samantha know? And that's only if the story that they told us is even remotely true, which I don't think it is. I don't know that he's ever met her. I mean, I'm not kidding about that. I don't think he's seen her, if at all, since she was a kid. We have 1 day's worth of photos where he has 2 sons and he's there with a supposed 10-year-old Meghan. I do not think that is accurate. I really don't. Especially because if she were when she was 10 years old, his kids would have had to have been babies, but they're 4 and 5 years old themselves. So given that those photos aren't real, I don't know if he's ever met her. Or if he's met her, since she's been able to talk. I really don't. I hear all the time about the last time that Samantha saw Meghan, the last time that she spoke to her on the phone, and we have all those quote-unquote details, but we don't have any details about the last time Thomas did. Because I do firmly believe that if he ever met her, it was 40 years ago. That's how long I think it's been. And when was the last time that Thomas Jr., Sr., and Samantha were together before Meghan married Harry? They were estranged.
I think perhaps it didn't. But I had this idea. What do you think about this, right? So that was the first episode. I've watched a couple of others as well. Later on in the series, I think it's episode 5, she kind of makes out that she was brought up in great poverty and never had a yard or a garden, as we call them in Britain. I'm not sure whether that's true or not. You can talk about that in a second. But here's what I thought. Instead of that really, really boring first episode about bees and about making pasta for her employee, the makeup man Daniel, how about she could have invited you, Samantha, and your dad round for lunch? Now, that would have got a massive audience, wouldn't it?
That would have been a showstopper right there. Although, she probably would have turned us into wax dolls in the basement with all those candles and stuff. I don't know. It's just, but there was definitely better ways to go about that show.
How many of us think that Thomas Jr., Samantha, or Sr. would have shown up unless they were being paid? See, Daniel didn't get paid for that. He did it out of the goodness of his heart because he's a dope. But Thomas Jr., Thomas Sr., and Samantha, they would not have shown up unless Netflix not only offered to pay them, but probably offered them a story and a script and a production and a whatever too. Because they don't do anything for nothing. It goes back to, Meghan, I can't believe I'm not getting paid for this. They would be the same way. And that's why Thomas is doing this interview right now. He's getting paid for it. If that's not true, I'm sorry. Please correct me. Show me the evidence that you are not getting paid for all of these things. Because given the mentality and the attitude that they don't do anything unless they're getting paid for it, I would find it difficult to believe that he would have done this interview just for fun. Especially since last July, Thomas Jr. on his show threatened Kevin O'Sullivan. And 2 months later, he showed up on the show. My assumption was, hey, let the whole, threat thing go, and we'll pay you to come on an episode. That is my educated opinion based on all that I know about the Markles.
Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of effort put into that, the making of that. And I feel sorry for all the employees who had to endure it. But it takes a lot. But it just didn't work out. Nothing about that episode at all during the entire thing made me want to do it, made me ever want to watch it again. It was that boring. I'm sorry it was, but that's
I couldn't agree with you more. I used to be a TV critic, and I've watched a lot of TV in my time, and I've watched a lot of very dull shows. I mean, that one took the biscuit. I mean, it really, or the cookie, I should say. That one really, really was tedious. Towards the end of the first episode, as she and her employee Daniel are sitting down to eat some yogurt or something, they look across this fantastic view, and Daniel said, "I feel like this is all fake."
I feel like this is all fake.
It is not a backdrop. This is not a green screen.
Did you feel like it was all fake as well?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest. I do a lot of things on social media. I make a lot of jokes all the time. And, actually, this is probably the first time I felt sorry and embarrassed for her, honestly. There should be like a disclaimer, no cast or crew were hurt in the making of this series, I don't know.
The problem with Thomas's critique, it's shallow, and it doesn't actually tell us anything about the episode. And it doesn't say what the bad things or the good things were. When I went through and I critiqued it, actually not so much for the first episode because I just wanted to get that out. It was just too funny. But the second and third episode, I went through and I said, look, right here where they are doing this, she's off with Delphina going hiking. Here's how she could have done this better, because she puts the dough into the fridge. Well, why didn't they do that while they went hiking? Let the dough rise while they were hiking, instead of specifically saying, here, this is one that I did earlier. I mean, you actually have to look at what it is that she did and say why you didn't like it. It's not enough to just sit here and say, oh, no, she's boring. I was embarrassed for her. Because you know what? To be honest, I'm embarrassed for Thomas for this interview.
No cast or crew died of boredom during the making of this series. The audience, I'm not so sure. Yeah, that's an interesting take on it, Tom, that you felt she's so desperate. There's a desperation about her desire to be loved by everybody. Aren't I cutesy? Aren't I lovely? Look at the effort I make for all my friends. I put flowers in a pot. I love to prep the guest room and all that stuff. Desperate to be loved.
Evan is very spot on here about Meghan's motivation, but I don't think, unless you watch it, you really get a sense that she is acting as though she is in charge of a B&B. Like, she does so over the top for her supposed guests. This isn't hostessing. This isn't what any normal person would have the time or the means to do. And she goes so far to the extreme. Seriously, it would be a great show for someone who wanted to run a B&B, except they would have better ideas already. I mean, that's what it is. This was like the best experience, a good experience at a B&B. I've had better. But the things that she does, as though, she's got people who come and stay with her for days and weeks. They're taking baths? Who does this? Who goes and stays at their friend's house overnight and takes 2 hours to go take a bath? I mean, if you're there to see your friend and to catch up on old times and do all the things that Daniel was supposedly doing, why on earth is he spending that time that he could be with Meghan taking a bath? They should be socializing, talking, catching up. Ugh.
And yet not quite cutting it, not quite making it. So in that respect, that's what makes you feel a little sympathy for her.
To touch back on what you said a minute ago about she could have invited her father, first of all, me and Samantha, of course, and she could have turned that into something like the entire world was actually wanting to expect. Meghan to do the right thing and pull her head out of her, you know what, and make amends. And at least with her father, you know, this would have been a great opportunity, a special guest on the season premiere, and she can sit there and make her dad one of those rainbow fruit hats or whatever the things. I mean, it looked like a clown's hat, but you know, Dad would have enjoyed that.
Now, I think it was about a month ago that Thomas Jr. did a live, and he said, no way on earth will I ever allow any camera around and my sister and my father in the same room. I'm not letting her exploit him that way. But now he's sitting on here saying what she should have done was invite her father over for dinner on her new TV show with Netflix there. I mean, isn't that the exact thing that he said? No, never. I'm not going to let her ever exploit him that way and hurt him that way again. So I guess it would be okay if it was, you know, a great idea to get him paid, but not just for what? The knowledge of them sitting down together? So unless he's getting something out of it, that's a big no from Thomas. He's made that quite clear. But yet she should have come up with this? It's ridiculous. It's contradictory.
Exactly right. It would have been, as you say, a blockbuster. That would have been the way to start the series. But to go back to this sort of fakery line, I mean, the whole thing exudes a kind of fakery. And there she is trying to pretend that she's this wonderful mom, this wonderful family woman who's so lovely to all of her friends. And in the backdrop, you especially know, but we all know, she's not very wonderful to her own family. She's not very wonderful to her father, to you, to her sister Samantha. And that's why she comes across like this massive, great fraud, like an actress delivering a part.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head on that one, definitely, because the entire world knows how she treated her family, and especially how she treated her father, who gave her everything in life, which goes back to what you said earlier about growing up poor and underprivileged was the complete opposite. I mean, that's just another one of the malarkey stories she sold to the royal family for sympathy.
Even with me growing up, it was so much fast food. And yes, I get when you're on a budget, it's super affordable, but it costs you so much in the long run.
But when you have a garden, of course, having a garden is like printing your own money.
I love that.
And it never happened. You know, we weren't poor. She didn't have to rub those two nickels together at Sizzler Salad Bar. You know, there's Musso's and Frank's, Hamburger Hamlet, the Brown Derby.
Now, I don't understand why this is such a sticking point for the Markle family. Why that one comment about a Sizzler Salad Bar is something that I have heard Thomas Jr. and Samantha say about a dozen times each. They've repeated this. I mean, they have made more of it and made it more of a known, quote-unquote, fact than Meghan ever did. She said it once. They've said it dozens of times. Why? Is it just that they're trying to make it sound like, no, Thomas Markle Sr. was very successful? Okay. Like, you made the point. She lied. There weren't Sizzlers. So why do you keep saying it and keep bringing it up? It gives the story more life than if they had just dropped it.
Lots of restaurants in Hollywood, and it just goes up there for the poor me, one tier left I go victim card. And it's just complete opposite of how she comes across being this type of a person when in the background the entire world knows who she is. And you know what how she disrespected the Queen and treated members of the royal family, and it's just like, it's so fake. That's why nobody's buying it, and that's why I don't think it's going to do very well at all, allegedly, in my opinion.
Well, I think your opinion is quite good, to say the least. I mean, as I say, I know something about the dynamics of what makes a TV show work. I used to have to watch about 35 hours of TV every single week for my previous job. And as I say, I've seen some boring programs, but I'm not kidding you, Tom. I was actually shocked by how dull this was. I thought they could have made some effort. Get her out of the kitchen a bit more. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, even as an amateur cook, she's not particularly good. I just find it strange. I mean, I'll watch an expert chef Michelin star chef say, here's how I make a salad, or here's how I cut up some vegetables. But why do I have to watch Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, do this, who clearly doesn't really know what she's doing? She's just another amateur cook in the kitchen.
Even more bizarre is the way she had Mindy Kaling there. Mindy Kaling, who actually has a cooking vlog, has her there as though she is learning something from Meghan. What on earth would she have to learn from Meghan? Meghan is far less expert in this. I mean, Mindy had to sit there and say, no, what you're doing is, you're cutting them on the bias. And Meghan had no idea. But the fact that Mindy had to sit there and say that, it makes it all the more ridiculous that Meghan has the cooking show and is bringing in these experts. These people are better at this than you. Why are you the one with the show? And said that to me on X that, of all the people, every single one of them, every single guest that she had in the first, 5 or 6 episodes would have been better hosts of this show than she was. If anything, they show how ridiculous it is that she has this show. And the whole premise of the show is you can, quote unquote, do all this yourself. You don't need to, pay for a party planner. You don't need to, buy things. You can make this all from stuff that you have around your house. Well, then why on earth do we need to buy anything from you, Meghan? I mean, what is she going to do? Is she going to sell candles? Well, you know what? I can go to Amazon and get a candle making kit for $30. Why am I going to buy your $40 candle and get one half candle? Actually, when the whole point of the show is how to do it yourself. You agree, don't you, Guinness? Yeah, you agree. If the whole point of the show is do it yourself, don't spend the money, then what are we going to buy from you, Meghan?
What's the draw? Why am I supposed to care how she cuts up vegetables?
And exactly, Kevin. I mean, you brought up another really good point there. Here's this person who said that she grew up watching cooking shows. I mean, that sounds a little, plagiaristic at this point, if you want to just say that. But yeah. I was under the impression that all those recipes that she was whipping up in the kitchen came from the chef in Chicago that she was dating before Harry.
I bet they did. She saved them up. But as I say, she doesn't come across as an expert. I mean, in episode 1, that cake, the honey layer cake or the honey lemon cake, I mean, that was a disaster, a real mess. But she said she called it the beautiful inside cake. Oh, yeah. Great. What do you make, if I can ask you this, Thomas Markle, what did you make of her saying, I'm not called Markle anymore, I'm called Sussex?
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. I'm Sussex now.
Now, here's where we're going to get into a problem. She got married. She changed her name. I don't give a crap if it's Sussex, Windsor, Mountbatten Windsor, whatever. She isn't a Markle now. So they really have nothing to say about this. Now, of course, we can argue and sit here and say she's not Sussex and she's only saying she's Sussex so that they don't take away the titles. I don't know. I don't care. I find that ridiculous. We all know exactly who she is and whatnot. But the Markle family have nothing to say about whether or not she is a Markle anymore. She isn't a Markle anymore. And hasn't he said about 1,000 times, I wish she didn't. She wasn't called Markle anymore. So don't complain about it.
You have kids and you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so, I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go, this is our family name, our little family name.
Well, now I know, and I love it.
Well, see, that's weird because I think she got that, I think me and Samantha are actually just a tribute to Meghan and her new show because she's going to do that. Samantha and I are both going to change our last names to Sussex legally. Okay, just we have to jump on the bandwagon and support Meghan. So being that I'm technically the Duke-in-law of Sussex, yeah, and Samantha's the Duchess-in-law of Sussex, hey, hi Meghan.
Yeah. Did you notice that bit though? So one of her friends says, "Oh, so I can't believe I'm watching Meghan Markle make this," and then she goes, It's so funny you say that, because I'm not Meghan Markle anymore. I'm Meghan Sussex. Sussex is my name. And then she got a load of old waffle about how that's how the family identify themselves. But she's abandoning your name there, Tom. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's actually probably going to do us a favor because she's drug it through the mud so deep these days that it's just, we can at least redeem ourselves and our dignity now. She does.
I really think that she is the only one that made the Markle name bad. I mean, you got the three of them out there. They're no better. They're literally apples from the same tree. So I think the whole name is kind of done for at this point. And there are a lot of Markles in the world who are sitting there saying, fuck, why can't these people just go away so that my name is not constantly in the news? But, I don't think that in this case, he's any better than she is. Samantha's any better. I mean, they're cut from the same cloth, apples from the same tree. So I'm going to move on from this interview. There's more to it. If you want to, you can go watch it on Kevin O'Sullivan's, Talk TV station. You can see more about the interview between them. I mean, the rest of it is more the same. It's not that unique or anything. Instead, I'm going to switch gears and we're going to watch a little bit of what Samantha had to say on Dan Wooten. And she was part of a panel that had, a bunch of YouTubers, Dan and Samantha. And I'm not going to, go into what the other ones had to say. I'm pretty much going to focus on just what Samantha had to say.
So let me come straight to Samantha Markle. Sam, how do you feel about Meghan saying she is no longer a Markle, no longer using your family name?
Well, one tear left I go. Let me see if I can squeeze one out.
She's good at that.
Samantha has done the exact same thing multiple times. I can give you 2 or 3 examples where she sat there, I don't know if I can love her anymore because she's just such a horrible person. I mean, changes on a dime. She's actually maybe worse at it than Meghan. So really, this is just, it's ridiculous that she's the one that's going to sit there and complain about the one tear left eye. She brings it up herself because she thinks she's making a very funny point. I think it's actually a very sad point, in my opinion, allegedly.
No, seriously, I think, I should be like depressed. I think our now deceased grandmother would be happy at that because of what she did to the family name. But in jest, I'm going to say that, she had put out there that I, quote, only changed my name because she met Harry. So guess what? I think my brother and I are going to change our last name to Sussex. Let's all be Sussexes now.
Is Meghan is saying she changed her name because she got married. Do I think it should be changed to Sussex? No, I think it should be Mountbatten Windsor or whatever the hell Harry's name is. I don't even know. But whatever she changed her name to from getting married, there's nothing wrong with that. People do it all the time. People do it every day. So the fact that Samantha and Thomas are kind of mocking her for it, I find that very cruel. I mean, my brothers didn't mock me when I changed my name when I got married, nor did they say anything. I say anything to them when their wives changed their name to our last name. That's what people do. A lot of people do still do that, and I think it's bizarre that they would be mocking her for doing something that's so common. That speaks of their jealousy and bitterness far more than it says anything about Meghan. I don't feel that Meghan actually has changed her last name in respect and deference to her husband and their family. So I think she's being disingenuous when she says it. And if they wanted to make a comment about that, fine. But they're not. They're mocking her for doing something that's perfectly normal and reasonable.
That is brilliant. So she's not going to escape you. It will be Samantha Sussex and Thomas Sussex Jr. I love that because she will hate it. She will absolutely hate it.
Wouldn't he only be Thomas Sussex Jr. if Thomas Sr. changed his name to Sussex too? Thomas Wayne Sussex Sr., then Thomas Wayne Sussex Jr. I mean, I know they're trying to be funny. I know they're making a joke. It's just such a bad one that it makes no sense. I mean, that would be like, what? Did my brothers change their last name to my married name? Of course not. It's just, it speaks more towards their bitterness and nastiness than it does anything else. Now, the next part that I'm going to skip over to, this is actually, like I said, I'm not going to, remark on the other guests on the panel, only Samantha stuff. But I do want to show this one part because this shows Meghan going to the, watch party or whatever, which was apparently at a Soho house. You've got to be kidding me. But the watch party, and wait till you see what these two squatties did.
And there are the people who were clearly pretending to be surprised because there is no way that this was just some sort of freak occurrence. What are you doing, people? I mean, this is seriously where I'm like, you are certifiable. Apparently, that isn't one of those henna tattoos. That is genuine permanent ink.
Oh my gosh. We knew. These are tiny. Are these from these earthy lilies? Oh, sweet.
I obviously consider this to be insane and disturbing, but what I wanted to point out about this is the one way I could see this being a success, this TV show, and yeah, I do see a way that it could be, and that is because Meghan, by appealing to this younger audience, what she's doing is she's appealing to an audience for whom the stories that she's telling and the ideas that she's sharing, they might be new. Okay, you and I have seen all this stuff before. We've seen Giotto, we've seen Ina Garten, we've seen Rachel Ray, we've seen all these other cooks, chefs, actually do this and do it much better. So for her to appeal to this younger audience, that could be part of the reason, because for them, they haven't seen these older lifestyle, TV show people, personalities doing this. And so they might think she's brilliant.
I really struggled with this relationship, Samantha, between Daniel and Meghan, because it didn't feel to me like a genuine friendship. This was all about the guy who's on the payroll and tells her whatever she wants to hear.
Well, I guess we have to admit that in the case of Dan Wooten and Samantha, it's actually something very similar, except Samantha's the one on the payroll and Dan tells her everything she wants to hear and lets her talk about anything she wants to. So it's kind of interesting that, has such a problem with that relationship when we see evidence of one just like it all the time.
You agree?
Yeah, what about the idea of just being humble, getting real in the kitchen? I don't know about anybody else, but very few of us, when we're in the kitchen, have someone sucking up to us, gushing, worshiping us. I mean, it's...
Yeah, that's true, Samantha. Very few of us do. But what's amazing to me is that you caught that and you noticed it and you are bitter about it because you wish you had someone sitting there in the kitchen sucking up to you. And I'm pretty sure that your partner does. I've heard the two of you interact. I'm pretty sure that anytime he's in the kitchen with you, he damn well better be sucking up to you or you're not going to be happy and then there's going to be hell to pay. In my opinion, allegedly. Do your own research and form your own conclusions.
Yeah, it all seemed very scripted.
It did, and it was like, it was so hard because I used to have to do my makeup by myself. Of course, this is because she's just so good at making bacon that her husband loves it so much, and he just runs into the kitchen anytime she is cooking bacon, and I found it completely cringeworthy. What did you think, Samantha?
I gotta say, Pedina was right. It's so flat. If it's a cake, it totally fell flat. And I think they would have been better off calling it More Recipes for Disaster with Meghan.
Oh my God, I love that.
Just,
it really is. I know.
It didn't
I
work.
know. And some of the banter is so bad. Like Meghan says, I have a husband who no matter what meal is put in front of him, he puts salt on it. And Mindy replies saying, your husband likes it salty. And by the way,
all I can say is this could not be an interview that Samantha enjoyed doing. She does not like this much competition. I guarantee you are not going to see too many times in the future where you have 3 other interesting and more personable guests than her, because Samantha doesn't like that sort of competition. She's just sitting here with the one-liners. They're making the valid points. Okay, they're bringing up things from the show that Meghan did that could have been done better or that fell flat. All she's doing is throwing out the one-liners. Because of it, she comes off as bitter and thoughtless, basically. And so it really, it's just the whole thing. She looks terrible in this. And I don't mean physically looks. I mean, she comes off sounding awful.
So awkward, and I didn't like this Sam Markle, Meghan slagging off your father again, certainly not doing it by name. I mean, it's as if he doesn't exist in her world, but she's talking about growing up, and she keeps going on and on and on about, I grew up with lots of takeaways, I just grew up with TV meals, we got no good food, Taco Bell, Jack in the Box. Firstly, Sam, is that true? And did you sense that it was just dig after dig after dig at your amazing dad?
Yeah, it was dig after dig, because I think it's salient out there that, you know, whether it was Yamashiro or Musso and Frank or the little Japanese restaurant by ABC, she went to the best restaurants in Los Angeles. We all did. So that whole, you know, that and rubbing the nickels together and to get a Sizzler steak, you know, fruit and salad bar was.
I find it very interesting that both Samantha and Thomas made that comment about rubbing nickels together and the Sizzler salad bar. Again, they have brought it up so many more times than Meghan ever did that they are the ones that made it a story. They are the ones that put it in our consciousness, not Meghan. Meghan said it once and nobody would have paid too much attention to it if not for Samantha and Thomas Jr. constantly reminding us. And it makes no sense. If it wasn't true, you've told us it's not true. Stop repeating it. You're giving it more life than she did. And I am sorry for this, but I truly feel as though the bitterness is so extreme at this point. Get over it. She's your sister. She doesn't like you. Move on. It's we've heard you've defended yourself. You've put your story out there. You told the truth, apparently, theoretically, allegedly, in my opinion, not so much. But you put your story out there. Why are we still hearing from you? You've done your job. You told your side of the tale. You set the record straight. And had they stopped at that point, it would have done what they wanted it to, which was set the record straight. But it's the fact that 6 years later, they're still out here saying the same ridiculous stories over and over again that makes them less believable than Meghan. I know Thomas Jr. has a big complaint saying, who am I to talk about his family? I'm not talking about his family. I'm talking about my opinion of his family. And I am saying that their repeated actions, behavior, still telling the story 6 years later, that to me makes them less believable to me. It's not me commenting on his family, that's me commenting on my opinion of his family. And I am entitled to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm entitled to my opinion because I am an American and I do have the right to free speech and the right to respectfully and honestly present my opinion to anyone who wants to listen. If Thomas doesn't want to hear it, the very simple solution is don't listen.
Just crazy again, totally fake, totally insulting. And it's not hurtful anymore. It's become a joke at this point. So nobody buys it.
Exactly.
Nobody buys it.
Again, said this before. If in fact nobody buys it, it's all a joke, then stop talking about it. Because now you're becoming the joke. You're becoming the bigger joke. It's just the facts, Jack. In my opinion, allegedly. Do your own research and form your own conclusions.
But Sam, I think it is worth picking up on that point, though. I really did feel like your dad was the elephant in the room throughout the series. And there were times when he was almost on the tip of her tongue, but she just couldn't bring herself to mention him.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think what would also be hurtful is, first of all, let me just say quickly, she has this inclination to like align like a used car salesman, in my opinion, with whoever she's with. In other words, you ski, I ski. Oh my God. Well, you speak Argentinian, I speak Argentinian Spanish. And that brings me to the point about my dad. When she was in Argentina, she never worked for the embassy. That was a lie. Dad paid for a 5-week study program for her to be in Argentina, and any student who could afford it could go. The point is, she knows how to speak Spanish, but I doubt that in 5 weeks you're going to become fluent in Argentinian Spanish. So to use that with this woman, and she probably told her falsely that she worked for the embassy and that she spoke Argentinian Spanish, it's also grandiose. It's like, in my opinion, she's a master at being a used car salesman. Whoever she's with, she does that. She's just like them.
Totally.
Whole bit confused me because Samantha is saying a couple things here which contradicts greatly with her stories in the past. For one, she's saying Meghan went on a 5-week work study program. Work study. So she was working and studying. So she was working at the embassy and studying. And if Samantha is going to say that whoever paid for this program, whoever had the money could go, then why would Meghan owe any appreciation or gratitude towards Uncle Mike? Which Samantha has said in the past, she doesn't even appreciate what Uncle Mike has done for her. Well, according to what Samantha just said, Uncle Mike didn't do anything. Because Uncle Mike, she didn't need him. All she needed was the $5,000. So which is it? I mean, this is, to me, the crux of this whole Argentinian story is everything that Samantha has said about it. She just admitted she's lied. She's lied, and Meghan has been telling a truth closer to the actual story than Samantha has. Because Samantha is the one that said, Uncle Mike did it. He did this for her. Well, no. Thomas just paid the money. Again, them talking every time Samantha and Thomas Jr. open up their mouths, they make it worse for themselves.
Yes, sorry, Sam.
So no, I was going to say, I don't know about you guys, but what was really grossing me out the whole time, I was thinking there should be a recipe in there somewhere for what to do about the hair in your food. Like there's all this prepping and all this and even her guests, everyone's just got their hair out. I'm sorry, but if you're, preparing food for other people, you pull your hair back. It's just like someone said, you lose about 100 hairs a day. So whether you realize it or not, there's going to be hair floating.
Yeah, she can't cook.
The problem is that, Ina Garten never put her hair up. I mean, that's part of the, the TV of it. So, well, I understand Samantha's point. I had much bigger problems or much bigger complaints about being barefoot in the kitchen than I after walking in the garden than I did with her hair. I mean, there are many times where I've seen Giada with her hair down, Ina Garten with her hair down, Rachel Ray with her hair down. So, I mean, that's the TV of it.
Very good. That's so funny.
Is that true, Sam? Did she really work professionally as a gift wrapper?
I mean, no, not that I ever heard. And I gotta say, the whole sappy, idea of putting things back together. You mean like the hearts that you've broken, like dad's heart? like, the deceased Queen Elizabeth II's heart. I mean, if you break hearts, gee, why don't you think about putting that back together? And you can't, unfortunately, in these situations. But it seems like a Freudian slip for compensation, for deflection, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
On Samantha, can't you push out that one tear, left eye? Come on. But I will say that is interesting, that's almost exactly what Thomas said in his Kevin O'Sullivan. I mean, I guess the two must be in communication, because they are pushing out the same talking points in each of these interviews. You really only needed to see one, because the other one just repeated what the other one said. If you see the actual interview, which I'm not showing the clips that Samantha's not talking, but if you actually watch the interview, just keep an eye on Samantha. The entire time that the other guests are talking, Samantha's looking down as though she's checking her messages on her phone. I mean, I again, really, you had nothing, you couldn't just for, the 2-hour interview or whatever it is, you can just put the phone down? Like, when she's not the center of attention, she's not paying attention at all.
Seems like there's this constant attempt at rebranding, and in my opinion, this is like taking Margaret Hamilton from The Wizard of Oz, the witch. How do you rebrand the Wicked Witch of the West?
Exactly. And the whole world knows you are the Wicked Witch of the West, and you're not trying to present yourself as some sort of moderate figure. You're actually saying, I am the good fairy. It's utterly bizarre. But then
I was just going to say, poor Harry, I can't help but wonder, and this is my opinion, I wonder if he ever asks himself or confronts how he feels about being a springboard, whether it's this or other things. It seems like so much of even what she has been able to do with Netflix, using the royal title, without all of that, without him, now. What would you have?
Yeah, this is it now. I once was one of the heirs to the throne, a senior member of the royal family. I'm now a bit part player to try and keep this Netflix deal alive. It really is extraordinary.
Is the majority of it. There is obviously, all of the other commentators and panelists and their contribution to the interview, and no shade to any of them. They did a great job. That's just it. I didn't want to say anything about their performance because it was good. I didn't want to, bring into that in any question. I really just wanted to focus on Samantha. Also because this video was already pretty long and I was focusing on just Junior and Samantha in this. So do go watch the interview, the panel, and you can hear all the other wonderful presentations. I mean, you got Angela Levin, P. Dina, and the Sidley twins. So there's a lot of good stuff in there and they make a lot of great points. Obviously there was no one else but Thomas and the Kevin O'Sullivan and Thomas one, but there was more to that interview. So if you want to go watch it, do that. I just wanted to focus on some of the main points that I discovered and the things, like I said, you do see that there is some collusion between Samantha and Thomas in that they are towing each other's party lines, nearly saying the same sentences. They both said the sentence about the rubbing two nickels together, things like that. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you a sense of, how the family that grifts together is still staying together in some odd, bizarre little way. I will be doing one, maybe two more videos of the remaining episodes. I'm kind of assuming that as the episodes go on, there's going to be less unique things to say about it. So I might be able to fit it all in one last episode. So thank you very much for listening. I look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments, and I hope you have a great day filled with love, laughter, and of course, dancing. Because we gotta keep dancing, people, because this stuff is just getting crazy.
Dancing in the rain.